Hey there, comic book community. My name is Joe, and you're watching 360 Comics. Recently, I acquired 17 long boxes from a guy who was looking to get rid of his stuff before he moved. I got a great bulk price on this purchase and found some awesome keys inside. Today, I'm going to show you the 50 best books that I found in this collection. Don't forget, this is your last chance to enter our first ever weekly giveaway. The prize is this Batman 497. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment on it. That gets you one entry, and you can check out our other videos from this week for additional entries. I'm picking a winner Sunday night on Instagram Live. The story behind this collection is actually pretty funny. I had been out for a couple hours looking for comic books at yard sales with no luck. In fact, I had already thrown in the towel and I was ready to just go to the skate park and have a quick session before I went home to grab some lunch. But as luck would have it, near the skate park there was another yard sale and I had to just stop. So I did, and I asked the woman if she had any comic books. She said no. And then she followed it up with, but my neighbor has a yard sale today and he had some comic books. And I said, okay, show me where it is. She gave me some directions. I went around the corner and lo and behold, there is no yard sale there. And I kind of was like looking around, thought I might have gotten the address wrong, but there was a guy outside. So I asked him, I said, hey, did I miss the yard sale? He said, yeah, we closed up shop at noon. And I said, man, what a bummer. I heard you had comic books. And he said, yeah, I've got a ton of them. He, in fact, opened up his garage door and had 17 long boxes stacked up. And I said, well, you're looking to get rid of these? And he said, yeah, I am. Unfortunately, I have to roll right now. Here's my number. Give me a call. We'll set up a time. He said he was going away for a week, but he was going to have time the following weekend. So I actually forgot about this. He ended up calling me because I did text him. I always try to do that and give people my number too. So he ended up calling me like 2 weeks later and being like, hey, you still interested? And I said, oh, yeah, I totally forgot. So I went over and I took a look at things, and it was bulk. It was already picked through, at the yard sale. I'm sure a lot of people got some great books. I know he said there was a set of Secret Wars in there. And, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, right. I'm probably not going to be interested in buying this. So I went through, and there were certainly some keys. There were some things. There were, $5 and $10 books, plenty that I saw of that. But to bring home 17 long boxes, I have to get it for such a low price because I'm going to have to put so much time and effort into, sorting and pricing, bagging and boarding and all that stuff. So I told him, hey, man, if you want to move this, I'll give you $20 a long box. That's probably about what a comic book store is going to give you. It's not like a high amount because it's picked already. There's bulk. And he understood that. And he said, well, I'm moving. I just want to get rid of this stuff. $20 a long box comes out to $340, 17 long boxes. And, we shook on it, and I paid the man, and I took home 17 long boxes. I don't know how I fit that many in my little hatchback, but I did. I brought it home. I started organizing it. It took many, many hours. Fortunately, it was mostly organized already, but just kind of going through, pulling the keys and sorting things took a long time. But anyway, I ended up with about 9 boxes of dollar bin stuff, just stuff that, is going to go sit in my dollar bins, and someone wants it, they can have it. I think there were 5 boxes of $3 books, 2 boxes of $5 books, and then 1 long box full of books that are valued more than $5. Kind of that $7 to $15 range mostly, but there were some books that were $20 plus, all of which I'm going to show you today. And I pulled the 50 best, in my opinion, books from this collection. And without further ado, let's start going through them. We got Green Lantern number 39 from the Blackest Night run. This is the first appearance of Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern. Great cover, but we're going to move on because we got a lot of books to go through. Green Lantern 51. This is the first cover appearance of Kyle Rayner, and it is a high-grade newsstand. This book was from the 90s, so a little bit harder to find those newsstand books. And, if they're high-grade, that's even more of a bonus. And we got Green Arrow number 1, and this was was very surprising to me. This is actually the first ongoing Green Arrow run. This came out in the late 80s. I'm not sure why a character that had been around since the 1940s didn't get a solo run at some point. He did have a miniseries earlier in the 80s that was 4 issues, but first ongoing, great cover. Not a character that I'm super into, but certainly, especially after the whole Arrow television show, a lot more people got into him. Then we've got Outsiders, number 8, first appearance of Sabak. I believe this character is rumored or maybe even confirmed to be in the Black Adam movie. I don't know. Not really following those rumors or anything like that, and who knows if that movie's even coming out. Man, I hope so. DC's in trouble if it doesn't. Moving on to Blue Beetle, another movie that we don't know if it's coming out. We got Blue Beetle number 1. This is from the first solo Blue Beetle run featuring Jaime Reyes. And, right on the cover, awesome costume. And the costume in the movie from the set pics that we've seen looks extremely comic accurate. So that's great. Then we got Blue Beetle number 4 from that same run. This is the first appearance of the modern version of Peacemaker, which is actually the one that John Cena does portray in the Suicide Squad movie, as well as the Peacemaker television show. Seems like that character, as well as the rest of the James Gunn universe, is probably here to stay because, that's some of the best stuff that DC has put out in the last 5 years. Then we've got Action Comics number 636 with a Phantom Lady cover appearance. I'm not sure if this Phantom Lady is the same one from the Golden Age, or if this is just a different character utilizing the same name. Leave it in the comments below if you know. Either way, great cover from the 70s or 80s. Then we got Justice League number 189. Starro appearance, and this is a 2-issue run that pits the Justice League against Starro, just like they did in all of their first appearances in Brave and the Bold number 28. That's a big, major key from DC. Then we got Action Comics number 583. This is the Man of Tomorrow storyline by Alan Moore. Very popular, story in Superman history, as well as the first appearance of, an alternate reality child of Superman named Jonathan Elliott. Then we got, this one's an interesting one, King James number 1. It's a LeBron James comic. Was not aware that DC had put this out. Never seen this before, but, sports fans, comic book fans, there's certainly a crossover there, and both sides, as well as people in the middle, definitely would want to be grabbing that. The very last DC book I'm going to put up here is this one right here. This is Action Comics number 1. No, this is not the original book. This is the 1988 reprint, the 50th anniversary reprint. Still has definitely some value, some collectability, especially if it's in high grade. And this one looks pretty dang sharp. And anyone who wants this book and can't afford the real deal, doesn't have, 6 or 7 figures to spend on it, this is a great alternative to have. Moving on to the indie books, we got a bunch of Sonic the Hedgehog. Most of this stuff was later in the run, lower print run, stuff like that. Sonic Universe number 63 and number 65. These are 2, like I said, later print runs, smaller print runs. And then Sonic the Hedgehog number 262. This is just a really great variant cover. Not really sure if it's a reference, an homage to something, but it looks pretty awesome. Then we've got some Archie stuff. We got Josie and the Pussycats number 47. This is actually the 3rd appearance of Josie and the Pussycats. Her, first appearance is in Archie, and then she got her solo book in, Josie number 1, but she didn't form the musical group until issue number 45. This is issue number 47, so 3rd appearance of her famed band. Then we've got Veronica number 34, and this is a Gallagher cover. I'm not really familiar with that artist, but it was noted on Key Collector, so I assume that this artist is pretty popular, maybe particularly in the Archie run and stuff, but definitely a great cover. Love that bright pink stuff. And then we're moving on to some Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This is her holiday spectacular. And another amazing cover. This one is a 90s newsstand. Not really sure how that affects value on Archie stuff like it does with Marvel and DC, but just something to note. Speaking of Sabrina, we have a very early Sabrina issue from her run, issue number 9, a single digit, and I'm not sure why the focus went out. Looks good now. Okay, we're good. Yeah, Sabrina and the Teenage Witch number 9. Can't go wrong with early Sabrina. And if you caught my video on Wednesday, I actually bought a collection that had her 5th overall appearance in it. That was really cool. Go check that video out if you haven't yet. And we got some Cheryl Blossom. This is her first solo book, Cheryl Blossom number 1. It's got a DiCarlo art, and DiCarlo was a very popular Archie artist all the way back from at least the 70s, probably the 60s too, all the way through, this book came out in the 1990s. And stay tuned because there's another Cheryl Blossom book coming up in a little bit. In fact, it's the next book. This is actually her second appearance and one of the most expensive books in this collection, valued at about $40 in this higher mid-grade. This is Jughead number 235. No, sorry, 325. The second appearance of Cheryl Blossom. Like I've said before, these Archie books, few and far between, are worth very much, but when they are, they're worth quite a bit. Her first appearance is worth hundreds of dollars, even the second appearance about $40 in this condition. And this one really got me. This is another DiCarlo cover, not a key significance. It is just strictly the cover that makes this book worth money. Betty and Me, number, I think 136. Yeah, 136. Looks like she's standing on the scale and like questioning her food choices. I'm not sure this is really like the best content for the cover of a comic book that's, targeted at kids, but that might be the reason why it is pretty collectible at this point. Moving on to the Marvel stuff, we've got the Mighty Avengers number 246, the first appearance of Maria Rambeau, mother of Monica Rambeau, and we've got Mighty Avengers number 29. This is from the 2000-something run. I forget exactly which volume, but look at this cover. This is Loki disguised as Scarlet Witch, and it is a phenomenal cover. No real key significance other than the classic cover element to it. Then we've got New Avengers number 49. This is the first appearance of the Dark Avengers. I believe it's like an unofficial appearance, but nonetheless, definitely really cool. And I would love to see some Dark Avengers action on the screen. Speaking of the screen, this next one could be a possibility. This is New Avengers number 54. This is the issue where Brother Voodoo becomes Dr. Voodoo. He's given the role of Sorcerer Supreme and starts going by Dr. Voodoo. And, eventually the torch is going to have to be passed in the MCU. Benedict Cumberbatch is not going to be playing that role 20, 30 years from now. At least I doubt it. So hopefully, if the MCU keeps going, they're going to need a new Sorcerer Supreme, maybe Brother Voodoo / Dr. Voodoo. Then we've got Iron Man number 9. This is from the late 90s run. This is one of those keys that sneaks by everyone, I think. This is the first appearance of the Winter Guard. Sells for about $10, and usually you can find it in dollar bins pretty easily because most of the other books in the run are not very expensive. Then we've got Doctor Strange number 46. This is the first appearance of the I believe he's called like the Necromancer or something, but he's like the evil version of Doctor Strange, which we did just see in the movie a couple months ago, which I thought was a pretty cool interpretation of the character. This next one doesn't have a lot of value, but I think it has a lot of potential, so I put it in the video. Rise of the Black Panther number 2. This is the origin story of the Wakanda-Atlantis War. Now, what's coming out later this year. Black Panther 2. They are, have already shown us in the trailer that there's going to be Namor, and I think there's going to be some turmoil, as there normally is, between Wakanda and Atlantis. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but this could definitely be a book that has, some speculative potential here. Then we've got the Mighty Thor next, number 459. This is the first appearance of Thunderstrike. Some people were speculating on this character eventually showing up. I don't really think so, but nonetheless, still a good Thor key to have from the 90s. This next one's a doozy. Wait for it. Barbie Fashion #1. This is like Barbie's secondary run. She had the regular Barbie run, then Barbie Fashion. Think about Amazing Spider-Man versus Spectacular Spider-Man. And this one actually came with a credit card on the inside. Not really sure if this does anything at all or if it's just for show. But yeah, Barbie Fashion #1. And it's a newsstand from the 90s. I don't know if that means anything. Rocky and Bullwinkle #1 next. This is the first Marvel book, or rather Star Comics, which is an imprint of Marvel, of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Classic cartoon characters. Then, Frankencastle #21. This is the zombified version of Frank Castle, the Punisher, and this is the final issue, which does hold some value due to, like I always say, lower print runs usually as the series goes on, especially towards the end when it gets canceled. I'm going to move these down for a second and get to this last stack of books here. We've got Star Wars. Number 107, again, a final issue of the run. Unfortunately, this one is in pretty bad shape. This book normally sells for like $80, $100, something like that. This one has tape on the cover and is low grade, so $10 probably. That's what I'm going to put it at. It's a great book to have, especially if you're trying to collect the run on a budget, but it's definitely got those condition issues. Next, we got New X-Men number 118. The first appearance of Angel. She was utilized in X-Men First Class, but I don't think she's been seen at all since then. So, who knows what's going to happen if they're going to revamp this version of Angel. Not the original Angel from the original X-Men run from X-Men #1, but they might utilize her again. Who knows? I don't. Next up is J2. I believe this is number 2. Oh no, issue number 6. This is like an alternate universe, like in the future kind of thing. This is J2 is the son of Juggernaut, and as you can see on the cover, this is Magneta. Don't know if she's the daughter of Magneto in this run or not, but she's essentially the same character. Then we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 671 with this classic cover. I think this is a Ramos cover, if I am not mistaken. Great Mary Jane cover. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of a stain up in the corner of this book. It wasn't bagged and boarded when I got it, so I quickly put it in a bag and board. It doesn't look too bad or anything like that, and you can still see the awesome cover. Then we've got Roon versus Venom #1. This was a crossover between Marvel and Malibu. Apparently this is a pretty collectible stuff. And anything from like the 90s that's Venom is fairly collectible just because people love that character, and most of his stuff is little runs and limited series before he ended up getting his own ongoing. This next book definitely pertains to the MCU and what we're seeing now. This is Marvel Age number 4, and this is the first preview appearance of Damage Control, who's been seen in both Spider-Man and what else? Ms. Marvel recently. So definitely they're definitely using that for the MCU. Their first official appearance, so this was a preview, was in this book right here. This is Marvel Comics Presents number 19, and I think there were 2 copies of this in the collection, if I remember correctly. Moving on to some She-Hulk stuff, we've got She-Hulk number 18. This is the first appearance of Bob Doom, who is the cousin, I believe, of Dr. Doom. I don't know anything about this. Could he show up? Sure, but probably not before Dr. Doom, so it's gonna be a while. Maybe in like a What If or something? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. This next one is She-Hulk number 21. First appearance of Abominatrix, the female Abomination. And check this cover out. Wacky right there. I handed it to my wife and she said, looks like Hulk in a wig. And yes, it very much does. Then we've got Sensational She-Hulk number 39. This is a classic John Byrne controversial cover. Definitely a little bit scandalous there. And I forget what She-Hulk's saying. She's like, I'm only posing like this for the cover. Yeah, don't get the wrong idea. I'm only doing this because it makes a good cover. Oh, John Byrne. Then we've got Blade number 2 from 1998, I believe. This was when the movie was coming out, so they did variant photo covers of all the books in the run. And the photo covers are actually worth quite a bit more than the regular covers. This one sells for about $15, but Blade number 1, the variant cover sells for, I think it's like well over $100, and it's like several hundred in a 9.8 because it's got a white background, and that is tough to get in a high grade. Moving on to X-Men number 1, the facsimile reprint, of course, not the regular book, but still something that people buy and collect. I don't need to really say more about this. It's X-Men number 1. This is also a reprint, Captain America number 1. I think this reprints the first Captain America story. True Believers was, Marvel's reprint run. And interestingly enough, it's got this really cool homage to Incredible Hulk number 1 with, Steve there kind of growing into Captain America, just like Bruce growing into the Hulk. And this too, I think this might also be a reprint of that. This is the 70th anniversary of Captain America. And look at this cover. It's got Cap punching, instead of Hitler, a picture of Hitler. Really cool stuff. A classic reference to the Jack Kirby cover there. Then we've got Defenders number 112, first appearance of Power Princess. And I think some other minor key significances, but this book sells for like $25. I was really surprised to see that. I didn't realize that anything this late in the Defenders run was that much money, but apparently this one is. And then we've got Scar, Son of Hulk, number 1, first full appearance of Scar. A lot of people, thinking of this possibly. The MCU might be leading towards a World War Hulk, which might lead them towards Scar being next, because he did have his first cameo appearance in, I believe, book 5 of World War Hulk. And then got his own solo run right here. Who knows? That could definitely happen, but maybe not. Either way, a great first appearance. Now, if you're counting, you notice we're only at 48. And I did say I'm going to do the top 50. So the last couple things I have to show you actually were sets. I cheated a little bit. These are not single comics, but little sets, and they're popular sets, and that's why we're valuable sets. This one is Blackest Night, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Green Lantern story ever. I have a lot of friends who are really into Green Lantern, and this is issue 0 through 8, the complete run. 0 was a free comic book day giveaway, and then obviously 1 through 8 came out shortly thereafter. This sells for about $40 for the complete set, so I thought that was worth showing off in the video. And then one more thing, and this I haven't decided if I'm selling or if I'm going to keep in my personal collection and read, but we've got FF, not Fantastic Four, just FF, 1 through 23, the complete run here. And wait a second, I just grabbed a bunch of random books underneath. Those aren't part of the run. FF number 1 through 23, early 2000s or mid 2000s kind of run. There is one bigger key, and that is right here. This is FF number 19. This is the first appearance of Oname. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But she is a genius, part of the World Engineering Brigade, which is, for those of you who didn't read Web of Spider-Man last year, Tony Stark started, basically a engineering, almost like an academy for these kids. Peter Parker's part of it, Moon Girl, Harvey Keener as well, or Harley Keener, and Onami's part of that team as well. She's also a member of the group that's at Avengers Campus down in Disney World. So definitely a great book. This book alone sells for about $15 or $20, and the whole run sells for about $60. Again, I haven't decided what I'm doing with it, if I'm keeping it or not, but there's some great stuff in here. I did very well, I think. I spent, like I said, $340 for this entire collection. I honestly didn't really want to walk away with it at first. I kind of gave him that offer thinking he was going to say no. But, for that price, I couldn't really turn it down. So I took home 17 long boxes. I put in the time, And I'm going to do pretty well. Altogether, everything that I priced down and stuff, like I said, I got 2 long boxes of $5 books. That's, hundreds and hundreds of dollars already. There's probably about 200 books per box. So, I mean, that could be like $2,000 right there if I were to sell it all. Now, selling it all is the hard part. Takes a while to move that kind of inventory. And I probably wouldn't get $5 per book. I'd probably bundle them together, yada, yada. But, I spent $340. I should have no problem, making that back in the next month or two, and then it's all profit on top of there. This inventory is going to be with me for a long time, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to do some, flea markets, some conventions, and even some sales from my house that I'm thinking about doing. So stay tuned for that information. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know how you think I did, and until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.